Hello, hello, hello. This is Tamarina Sims back with an overview video of all Pleasantview families in 1928. This time we are starting with the Marsh family. As a quick reminder, this family still has no kids, although these two Roman Sims are very active with each other. When the sun finally set, a taxi awaits Will and Anna to bring them to Moonlight Falls to the club and restaurant. It is placed near the water with a beautiful view to the long red bridge that is combining the two districts of Moonlight Falls. Though our two Sims are having a nice date here and don't mind Bruno Rockburn, who comes and kisses Anna while Will is still making his way upstairs. He totally saw it, and I think he knows that his wife is seeing others. Maybe they talk about it. So he is fine with that. He just wants to spend time with his wife here, but meanwhile he also greets Bruno. A few Sims are dancing upstairs. Downstairs at the bar we have Simon Crumblebottom and behind him his wife Prue. Soon they are also making out, however a few Sims are enjoying the meal served at this place. Back to our dancing couple, and it is time to ring the dating meter up. Till now it is only good, but these two will soon have a dream date. Then the game stops for a moment to generate the very first vampire in town. And she starts to immediately getting to know some Sims. She must be a popularity Sim, though since her arrival she is calling my Sims in Pleasantview constantly. Our couple is having a good time until it starts to storm outside. And yes, this is because of the evil witch. So Will and Anna are preparing to leave soon. I gave Anna a cell phone to call a taxi because I didn't know of the issue with the default I have for the phone booth. I also deleted the cell phone, and a moment later Anna is making out with Bruno. This is witnessed by a couple of Pleasantview Sims, however Anna is leaving the place with Will and we are visiting the next family. Last time the Simowitches were blessed with twins, and today Fatima is at work and Vadim took a vacation day to look after the babies. But it seems to be easy for him, though he has time to work in his garden and doing some yoga. After he showered, the twins Bessie and Betty demanded some time with Daddy, which he handled very well. In the evening Fatima was home, so she took over the shift to look after the babies. Next up are the oldies, and they also had the daughter Helen born last time. They seem to be relaxed about having their baby, though Ilma plays a little bit of chess and Myron was able to eat breakfast before he needed to go to work. Of course, at some point every baby needs attention, so Ilma is looking after Helen, and when she was back to napping, Ilma was able to look after her plants and making some more soap. In the evening, when Myron got home, he was happy to spend his time with his little daughter. There were a lot of babies born last round, and the bachelors were no exception to this. So they had their twin sons Simis and Sergio. However, the parents look after both of them in the early morning, and later on Milton did what he always did, looking after his plants. Enriqueta did go to work at the kindergarten, where Peggy Sims discovered her one true hobby, tinkering. Back at home, Milton is still in the garden, but later that day the bachelors had also a visitor, Max Newby. It was the twins' birthday. First it was Sergio's time to grow up. He inherited the cheeks of his mother, and I gave him a little bit lighter hair to tell these two apart. But soon it is Simis' time to grow up, and while changing his appearance, I have to admit these two are really looking different. Simis has more of Milton, however I gave him thicker hair to tell those two apart more easily. Oh well, the Burp family. This was something to play through, But not because of the family itself, these were pretty chill, but see for yourself. So Benjamin was visiting the park to fish, and while editing I recognized Mommy Ruckburn greeting Benjamin, but when I was playing I probably didn't recognize her. But that should have told me to be careful. Well, Bruno wasn't careful. There was Anastasia Marsh. And of course they were making out publicly. We also witnessed that Irma Oldie and Marshall Dennis developed some interesting feelings for each other. But then Anna followed Bruno to the toilet house and his wife was just there playing chess. Of course she witnessed him giving kisses on Anna's arm. For Mommy and Bruno, it is drama. She slaps him and is deeply hurt. And then my game crashed and nothing of this happened at all. And I felt relieved and disappointed together. Bruno just had started these two affairs and it already could have cost his marriage if my game wouldn't have crashed. Back home to the lovely Beatrice playing with a boat. Later Ben teaches her to walk and Susan, who was at work, reads a book. For the Sims family, it was a peaceful Saturday, wholesome after all we saw last. Henry worked on his charisma skill that he needs for his job, and Regina catched up with a friend. The weather was fine, so the family spent the day outside in the garden, Henry trimming the bushes and Regina teaching Peggy to walk. That made little Peggy tired again, so she napped and Regina used the time to work on the car in her garage. Dinner time was spent together. Family time is very important for this family. The Dreamers are also a very stable and cute family. Before work, Darcia spent the time studying while Damar was having his breakfast. Both decided he would stay home with the baby, which was peacefully sleeping in his crib. Delmar. He used his time also wisely and tended the garden. Little Daisy came home at 3 and while her father was occupied with Davis, Daisy discovered the toilet. Darcia came home at 6 o'clock and brought more money with her. She had a promotion to level 2 of the maid career and the money was well needed. In the evening, Delmar taught Daisy to walk. Simon Crumblebottom spent the day at the lot next door of his home, where Milton Batcher is helping him healing the fruit trees. His wife stayed home, like she always does, though she still waits for her baby to arrive. Like always, Delmar Dreamer and Seth the Wrong, together with his wife Lena, were around, both men working in the garden tending to the fruit trees, and this time Mara and Oldie were also around to fix some broken objects. And Prudence pays him after his job is done. After Prue had freshened up, she got into labor in her dining room, witnessed by her staff, and for Prue it was good that Lena was around to help deliver the baby. And as a quick reminder, this family needs 2 girls, Cornelia and Agnes, but they got Albert first and now it is another boy with the name Clarence. So this family has to deal with 2 gender-swapped ancestors. There is now a possible scenario that the main Goff family won't exist like we used to know them. However, Gretel Goff has to give birth to 2 kids, and she is currently pregnant with baby number 1. Later that day, after Prue napped, it was time for Albert to learn his last toddler skill before it was time for his birthday. He grew up into a pink flashing suit, however, this was quickly fixed into something more suitable. He gets a full set of new clothes and a little bit fixed up in his appearance. Also, because his father has glasses, there was a chance that he needs to wear some glasses as well, and he rolled for that, so glasses for him as well. The Denders had a nice Saturday. Marshall teaching his son Dale to walk while Melinda worked on her basket weaving. But not for too long, because it was labor time for her as well. This family needs a girl to marry into the Pleasant household, and destiny struck with another boy, David Danders. I don't have a same-gender pregnancy mod, and I don't want that for the sake of realism, so the Danders needs to have a third child. Hopefully it will become a girl, and that would make the Danders the first and maybe only family with 3 kids. Tragedy strikes again when a burglar decided to break in. However, Marshall is the local police officer and fights the burglar. Marshall got injured but was able to scare off the thief and nothing was stolen. A beautiful smell came out of the kitchen of the Goff's house, and every household member came to the breakfast table to enjoy a nice meal of porridge. After that, Victor spent a day at his forest to sell more firewood for the colder days that are coming. Simon had the day off and spent it with his favorite hobby, coloring. Gretel used the time to read, but soon she got hungry again and got something for lunch, but wasn't able to eat it up because it was labor time. This family got lucky and got their needed ancestor Gunther Goff. In this case, the gender wasn't important because the Goffs need to have both genders. The Rackburn family, and with Bruno we were at the park. He set up the traps and met Milton Batchelor. They had a nice chat. Of course, there also was Benjamin Burb fishing, and somewhere also Melinda Danders. However, it started to rain heavily, though Bruno had bad luck and got a lightning strike. Back at home, I was greeted by a whole bunch of rabbits. At 3 o'clock, Carl comes home and needs fun, so he plays with his brother in their own room. Mommy came home at 5 and Carl couldn't resist. As soon he hears her coming home, he scopes out of his room, down the stairs and out of the front door right into Mommy's arms. Later the family spent some time together, Bruno teaching Clifford to walk and Mommy helping her son with his homework. The Jones were wholesome as always. Before work, Alice breastfeeded little Roger and Paul, who stayed home, took care of his garden. Later Enriqueta walked by and Paul chatted a bit with her, probably about the kindergarten, because his son would attend very soon. Roger is an easy baby and stays happily in his crib, so Paul has the time for more drawing practice. That evening it is Roger's birthday and he is now a toddler who needed to be put on the potty right after aging up, though afterwards I was able to give him a little makeover. Kinda Pleasant was at her shop today, like always, and I caught her happily dancing while her staff is doing the hard work. However, look who I caught in the photo booth. Luckily, it is the married couple Mommy and Bruno. Les comes home and immediately gets his son Jeff from the kindergarten to potty train this little guy. Myron Oldie was over for some plumbing, and afterwards he and Les are playing a game of soccer. Les got another fan very happy. For the newbies, it is the shortest update. Both parents spent their Friday afternoon to teach the twins how to walk. Max and Bob Sr. have to work on the toddler skills in every spare minute, otherwise the education of those is not manageable. So, that was it again. We got through 14 families, though the wrongs were covered in their own video. We had our first visit to Moonlight Falls. 3 babies were born, the police officer had a burglar in his house, and the Rockburns had a public woohoo. All in all, I would say this round was more chill than the last one. However, next time all the babies from 1928 will grow up into toddlers, and then we have a total of 13 toddlers in the hood. But we will also have more children. 5 toddlers will grow up. For 1929, there is also no machinima planned, though we will follow Albert Crumblebottom, who grew up into a child, through a day at the new school. I see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye!